I actually can't believe it. Oldschool Runescape is actually getting a new skill. After nearly a year of community consultation, making changes, poll blogs, the actual sailing concept went to the poll a week ago and it passed. Sailing is going to be Oldschool Runescape's first new skill over 10 years since the game first released back in 2013. I'm so excited. I woke up so early because I thought Deadman mode came out at 4 AM. I read the blog. I went ahead to look on Reddit to see if Deadman had started. It doesn't come out till 9 AM apparently. But there on the front page, sailing passed by less than 3,000 votes. 71.9% of people voted yes to sailing, 28.1% voted no. That is still insanely close. If Jagex had not lowered the poll vote requirement a few months ago, this would not have passed. And I think at that point, I would have lost all hope that the skill could come to this game. The amount of time that the Jagex mods have put into sailing vastly outstrips any other skill pitch and honestly just content pitch in general. So much effort was put into this from, of course, the Jagex moderators, but community members like Gentle Tractor as well. And I'm absolutely ecstatic that this is coming into the game. I'm so excited. Not to mention that literally every other poll question passed as well. Looking at other things that I guess were less controversial, Varlamore passed with 95%. Not even close. Okay, sorry, one question actually didn't pass. People don't want to share their thoughts about the Summer Summit, which is okay, that's fine. Okay, so where does this leave us regarding sailing now? We've gone through all of the community consultation, we've gone through refinement, and we finally locked in the skill. Well, now it's of course time for them to develop it. Now there's still going to of course be community feedback and multiple rounds of changes as the content is developed, but the skill is now officially locked in, it's coming to the game. Now we are going to be getting a beta for the skill, which I think is going to be really vital in locking down some of the core mechanics. One of the biggest holdups regarding sailing in particular was how they were going to deal with things like the movement system of boats and other key features to the game that really are going to make or break whether the skill is going to be enjoyable. Now they did of course have demos and other videos to showcase how it was going to work, and overall I think most people were pretty happy with what they came up with. But I think a beta will go a long way, especially for something as big as sailing. Now, as a lot of people know, sailing has been polled before. Back in 2015, a similar skill in some ways was pitched and failed. Now what's kind of funny to me is that the actual difference in the yes and no votes from the 2015 vote and the 2023 vote, almost 8 years later, is not that much. The skill originally failed by about 68% back in 2015, and today it passed by almost 72%. So it's a difference, but it's not a drastic, stark difference that you'd imagine from the amount of time and effort they put into this skill pitch versus the one in 2015, which was maybe done, by a couple people in a month maybe. It just kind of goes to show that community sentiment regarding a skill actually hasn't changed all that much, and I think this goes to show how important it is that sailing is a good skill. If it's released with a ton of problems or the skill is just really not that fun, I don't think we will ever get another skill in Oldschool Runescape, at least not for another decade. Now with that said though, I'm actually pretty confident that Jagex can pull this off. I gotta say that over the last couple of years, almost all the content they've released has been really good, and there's been so much less going wrong with the game than there has been in the past. I know people are gonna bring up things here and there that have happened. Obviously things are not perfect. Bots, server issues, we still got problems in this game, but I think they've slowly been building trust with the community that they can pull something more complex off in this game. And in some ways, I'm actually glad it took this long for a skill to pass, because I think the development team is probably in a better place now than it was, 8 years ago. They have more resources, and I think they legitimately can pull it off now, where I wouldn't be as confident in 2015. So sailing in combination with Varlamore is going to mean the Oldschool Runescape map is going to be changing a lot. I'm sure some of you have seen some of the mock-up ocean schematics in maps from community members. And this is kind of the heart of why I think sailing is going to be a really cool skill. Exploring brand new locations that aren't just more landmass is going to be really exciting. Exploring the Great Coryndian Reef, hunting for great white sharks, sailing along the Great Stamina Pot Bridge. There will be so much to do in the ocean. Because if you look at the map, pretty much everything is filled out right now beyond one hideous black square in the desert. All the real estate is taken up in the main landmass, so I think moving on to the ocean is a logical choice, and adding a new skill with it, perfect. So that means 2277 is no longer going to be your maxed total level, 2376 is going to be it. The high scores are going to be absolute chaos once the skill comes out, and the historical top of the game that has remained pretty similar for the last half a decade is actually going to get shifted around. Now I think in some ways it would be kind of cool to have some of the historic high scores saved somewhere. I don't know if it needs to be an entirely separate high score pre-sailing, but it will feel a little weird not having Link's Titan at the top, unless of course he comes back and nails out 200 mil sailing before anyone else, which would be kind of epic, but you might have a little more competition now. So when exactly can we expect sailing to actually be released? Well, definitely not happening this year. 2024 maybe, although I could see it going as late as early 2025. We don't really have a good frame of reference on how long something like this would take. It's probably one of the biggest updates we've ever received. And of course there needs to be multiple rounds of community feedback regarding quite a few things that they didn't quite hammer out in the blog. There's going to be a ton of changes. For example, some things they want to address during development are secondary and tertiary hybrid training methods for the skill, which are all going to be pulled individually due to the fact that they have a larger impact on the wider game that already exists. The actual rewards for everything regarding sailing and their effects, those are all going to have to be individually pulled as well. So there's going to be a lot more pulls still. Specific item buffs and bonuses, that's all going to be pulled. The sailing skill icon and cape, which are going to be iconic things in the game for years to come, that's going to be pulled. Ship capsizing and death mechanics, that still needs to be hammered out. That's an important one. Each individual island and all the content found on them, that's going to be pulled as well. And the NPC crew system complexity. That's just a quick look at some things they still need to hammer out, because although the sailing pitch was quite in depth, they of course couldn't cover everything. There's going to be new resources, new islands, new NPCs, new training methods. We really haven't seen an update like this before, and a lot of this is still subject to change. Now the things I'm probably most excited about this skill are a potential ocean raid, which is something they mentioned as some form of tertiary gaming, getting together with your friends to take on a series of challenges at sea. Oh, sounds so fun. Another one I'm really excited for, treasure hunting, which would be similar to the Crucial system but in the ocean. Kind of getting, of course, flashbacks of Wind Waker, going around in your boat, dredging up loot. Another thing I'm really excited for, sea monster hunting, which is kind of Slayer, but at sea. And probably the last thing, ship PvP. I mean, I gotta say it, that sounds really fun. So anyway, that's all for now, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know down below what you're most excited about for sailing. And I will see you pretty soon with, more videos than I've been releasing in the summer. We're coming back, we got some things planned. See you soon.